We can all agree paying taxes sucks, so if there's any way you can reduce that number, it's a win. In this video, we're gonna be talking about how to get your dividend income from dividend paying stocks or ETFs down to a 0% tax rate, looking at it a couple different ways. The key to paying 0% in taxes on dividends or a lower rate is finding something known as qualified dividends. First, it needs to be a US company or qualifying foreign company. It needs to be on a list that isn't considered not qualified. Lastly, you have to hold on to that dividend stock or dividend ETF for a certain period. If we look at a company like PepsiCo, PEP, the ticker symbol, we'll see that they pay a $4.60 dividend for the whole year for every share that you own. Now, this is a US based company. Boom, you have a check right there. When it comes to investments that are definitely not going to be qualified, it's bond ETFs, real estate investment trusts, so REITs. You also have something known as master limited partnerships. When I'm talking about a holding period, you have to hold the security for at least 61 days of a 121 period. In a situation where someone is going to buy 10,000 shares of, let's say, PepsiCo on April 27th, and then they end up selling 2,000 of those PepsiCo shares on June 15th, how does it break out between qualified and non-qualified dividends? The ex-dividend in this situation is May 2nd. And if you don't know what ex-dividend date is, you basically have to own the stock before this date to get the dividend that they pay out on a quarterly basis. If you bought the stock before May 2nd, you would get dividends on the next payment. If you bought it on May 2nd or after, you wouldn't get the dividend. Back to the situation, you have during 121 days, the investor held only 2,000 of those shares for 49 days between April 28th and June 15th. So those would not be qualified. And then you have 8,000 shares that they held onto for more than 60 days. Therefore, those 8,000 shares would actually be qualified dividends. Once you understand if you have qualified dividends or non-qualified dividends, why does it even matter? It comes down to the tax rate that you have to pay on qualified versus non-qualified. With qualified dividends, you can get a tax rate at 0% depending on your taxable income. So if you're single and your taxable income is up to $41,675, this would be your tax rate. As you make more taxable income, your qualified dividends are a higher tax rate, but if you compare that versus non-qualified, it gets taxed at your ordinary income tax brackets. So if you're making, let's say, above $89,000, you're going to be paying 24% on those dividends versus the 15%. So it still has an impact. Here's the bonus or little secret. There's actually a way to pay 0% taxes on your dividends, no matter what your taxable income is. It's using tax advantage accounts, something like a Roth IRA, a Roth 401k. You're not paying taxes on any gains or any dividends that are coming into that tax advantage account. Your tax rate is 0. So if you do have investments in REITs, MLPs, or bond funds, it may make more sense from a tax perspective to actually have that in those Roth accounts versus something like a taxable brokerage account. If you're scratching your head wondering, where can I even find if my dividends that I'm making in my brokerage account, qualified or non-qualified? I use Fidelity in my public account, so I'll show you where you can go. You can go to the tax information, you go to dividends and distributions, and it will list, you see here 2022, all the dividends that I collected. This upper part is non-qualified dividends, and this lower part is all of my qualified dividends for a total dividend combination of $783, but qualified $553. One thing I'd like to point out though with dividends in Fidelity that are coming through, this bond ETF that I own, fully expect that to be non-qualified. But for some of these other ones, they actually are ETFs that hold positions in companies that would be considered qualified. So ExxonMobil, Chevron, within energy. According to Fidelity, throughout 2022, all those ETFs show up as non-qualified, and then it gets corrected towards the beginning of February. Hopefully you enjoyed the video and learned something new today. Hoping that you can take some of this and lower your taxes as well. That's always good. If you guys did enjoy the video, consider smashing that like button, subscribing to Main Street Wolf, where we talk everything to do with money. Thanks guys for watching, and have a great day.